Where did Satan come from? How did he manifest such darkness? Where did the vile seed in his nature come from? And why did the all-knowing God not stop this seed from spreading into the once perfect world he made? These questions become very necessary, seeing as Satan's sudden appearance prompts us to look for answers far into the very beginning of things, into a time before the birth of humanity, a moment that would forever change the course of human history and cause a heavenly conflict between darkness and light. It is here that the seeds of both Satan and Jesus were sown, their destinies intertwined in ways unimaginable. So, what is the origin of Satan? Stick around as we explore the depths of this difficult subject together. When it comes to understanding Satan's origin, the Bible doesn't provide a single, comprehensive account in one specific book. Instead, the information about his origin is scattered throughout different passages in the Bible. To piece together this information, we need to look at various verses and connect them. By examining these different passages and combining them, we can gain a broader understanding of Satan's origin, his rebellion against God, and his subsequent fall from grace. The Bible tells us that Satan was a created entity, one of the initial beings, an angel who subsequently descended from his original status. He opted to oppose God, and as a consequence, the scriptures seem to narrate that he was cast down, expelled from heaven. We are informed that he did not act alone, but was accompanied by numerous other angels who also fell, joining him in his insurrection against God. This leads to the inquiry: if it holds true that Satan was an angel, created with the intent of goodness to serve the Lord, yet he renounced this noble station, this service to the Lord, and instead chose to instigate a rebellion against God along with a multitude of his angelic beings, what prompted this choice? If evil had to exist for Satan to opt for it over serving God, then what is the origin of this evil? If the biblical descriptions of Satan's downfall and his subsequent expulsion are factual, then the mystery surrounding the beginning of evil persists. How was evil even available as an option for Satan to select from the outset? In tackling these questions, I want to put forward that evil is not a tangible entity. It is not an element that requires creation to exist. While all other entities need to be brought into existence, and we are informed that God created all that exists through his powerful word and continues to sustain it, evil, I propose, is not an entity. It is not material, but rather the absence or negation of something. The scriptural testimony is quite enlightening in this regard. We learn from 1 John that sin equates to lawlessness, which implies that sin is not an entity. It is the lack of something, and in this instance, the absence of law or lawlessness. Romans chapter 1 provides further illustration, where sin is described as ungodliness and unrighteousness, indicating that it is not an entity, but rather the absence or deficiency of godliness and righteousness. In essence, this suggests that evil or sin, not being a material substance, is essentially the absence of godliness. It is an attitude or stance that lies against or contrary to God. This implies that evil did not need to be created. The only prerequisite for the existence of evil was the existence of God, which the Bible asserts has been the case for all eternity. Additionally, it required God to create beings with the capacity to either choose him or reject him. This scenario, I want to argue, initially unfolded with the angels, among whom Satan was a member. Therefore, all that was necessary for evil to emerge was for God to exist and for him to create angels. These angels, in their very creation, introduced the possibility of not godness into the world, presenting Satan with the option to choose it. Thus, if we consider the origins of Satan and consequently sin, we can deduce from the Bible that sin emerged as a result of God creating angels, in this particular context. Angels, therefore, were presented with the choice to either align with God or to adopt a stance that is contrary to God. This opposition to God is what we identify as evil. After making the choice of evil rather than good, Lucifer's fall from grace was a sudden and violent event, a rupture in the fabric of the universe. As he fell from the celestial heights, his essence twisted and contorted, transforming him into a being utterly opposed to all that he once represented. From this transformative descent emerged Satan, the embodiment of darkness, rebellion, and the depths of evil. Just as we know Satan's existence predates the advent of humanity, He stands as a formidable adversary, relentlessly pursuing his malevolent agenda, seeking to undermine God's creation and sow seeds of discord and temptation. His rebellion and subsequent transformation into Satan serve as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the perilous consequences that pride and corruption can cause. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, from verse 12, we find a passage that provides an intriguing insight into the original state of Lucifer's perfection and his subsequent fall from grace. Although the context of this passage refers to the king of Tyre, many scholars believe there is a dual meaning, metaphorically alluding to the fall of Lucifer. Ezekiel, a prophet of ancient times, was inspired by God to deliver a message to the king of Tyre, addressing his arrogance and pride. However, as we see Ezekiel's words unfolding in that passage, they seem to go beyond the mere mortal ruler, painting a vivid picture of a being who once dwelled in the splendor of perfection, the very essence of Lucifer. The passage speaks of Lucifer's unrivaled wisdom and beauty, describing him as the seal of perfection and full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He was adorned with precious stones, reflecting his heavenly radiance, and his presence was marked by the enchanting sound of music that emanated from within him. Yet amidst this divine splendor, a dark shadow loomed. Ezekiel describes how Lucifer's heart became filled with pride. His beauty and wisdom, once reflections of God's glory, became a source of self-exaltation. Lucifer began to believe that he could ascend to a position equal to or even greater than God. The passage describes how he was cast down from the mountain of God and banished from the heavenly realms. The once exalted cherub became a fallen angel, stripped of his glorious position and condemned to eternal damnation. Moving forward to the Garden of Eden, we re-encounter Satan, who was once the radiant Lucifer but now embodies the epitome of evil, fully assuming the adversary's role. In this picturesque paradise, God had placed Adam and Eve, the first human beings, intending to foster a relationship of love and trust. However, Satan, in his cunning and deceit, infiltrated this sacred space. Now fully assuming the role of the adversary and disguised as a serpent, Satan approached Eve and engaged her in conversation. He manipulated her with subtle lies and half-truths, tempting her to doubt God's commandments and enticing her with the promise of godlike knowledge. Tragically, Eve succumbed to this deception and partook of the forbidden fruit, and Adam followed suit. This act of disobedience shattered the harmonious bond between humanity and God. As a result, both Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden, losing their intimate access to God's presence. Simultaneously, Satan, who had orchestrated this fall from grace, faced divine judgment and received a curse that would forever mark his existence. From that moment onward, Satan and his demonic forces have waged a relentless war against humanity, seeking to lead humanity astray and separate us from the love and grace of God. Satan's presence in the Garden of Eden illustrates his role as the deceiver and tempter of humanity, leading to our expulsion from paradise. Yet even in the face of this spiritual battle, God, in his infinite mercy, promised a future redemption through the seed of the woman, Jesus Christ. The passage in Isaiah 14 uses poetic language to describe the fall of a powerful ruler, but many scholars interpret it metaphorically to refer to the fall of Satan. It portrays Satan as a proud and ambitious being who sought to exalt himself above God. According to the passage, Satan declared in his heart, "I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon." These words signify his rebellious desire to claim a position of authority and power that rivals or surpasses that of God. However, the passage continues by stating, "But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit." This signifies Satan's ultimate downfall and banishment to a place of darkness and confinement. Other references to Satan can be found in the New Testament, where Jesus refers to him as the father of lies and a murderer from the beginning. Yet there are a few non-canonical texts that touch upon Satan's origin. It's important to note that these texts are not considered part of the biblical canon, and their authenticity and accuracy are subject to debate among scholars. For instance, the Testament of Solomon, an apocryphal text attributed to King Solomon, speaks of how Solomon encounters a demon named Orneus. Through their interaction, the demon reveals information about other demons and their origins, including their master, Satan. Yet even amidst the shadows cast by Satan's rebellion, we find hope in the redemptive power of God's love as he seeks to rescue and restore humanity from the clutches of evil. Ultimately, the extensive study devoted to unraveling the origins of Satan and the nature of evil should guide our thoughts, emotions, and focus back to the Lord himself. For he is God, unparalleled and incomparable. Echoing the words of Paul in Romans, such contemplation should lead us to a place of awe, marveling at the depth of God's wisdom and knowledge. His ways are inscrutable, beyond our ability to fully comprehend. Who has truly understood the mind of God, or served as his advisor? For everything originates from him, exists through him, and ultimately exists for his purpose. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and share if this video intrigued you. See you next time.